All right, speculators, let's fire up the Futures Fanatic live stream for a special Friday. I just decided to do this on a Friday for a couple reasons. I think if the market stays really slow here, then I can do a little bit of strategy overview and talk a little bit about the charts and answer some questions. And then also shameless plug for the last day of the PropShop deal, which I still think is one of the best deals that you can get in terms of all in on evaluation accounts with activation fees included. Before I get started, just wanted to remind everybody of the disclosure and disclaimer that this broadcast is for educational purposes only. The opinions expressed are just mine. I'm wrong all the time. Don't listen to what I do. If you need a difference between good advice and bad advice, you probably wouldn't need any. Don't eat yellow snow. Look both ways before crossing the street. Wait 20 minutes before you swim after eating. And any other old wives' tales that you want to believe in. But you should know CFTC Rule 4.41 and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission disclaimer there. Okay, so we got that out of the way. My CURPOS, which stands for current positions, is long the Dow Jones right here at the -1s. Okay, so last couple streams I have been short. Now we're long in the bid zone. Dow Jones had a pretty sizable reversal today of 200-300 points after the United Healthcare news kept it up and elevated most of the session. But this is what this strategy entails. It's called the stay in your lane, and we're just using volatility bands right here. And you can buy in the bid zone. We could do an add right here. This would not be adding to a loser.
Order pending.
If you think of it as adding to a loser versus just trading a strategy properly with scale in at various levels. So we could do an add there. That's how we would trade this right here. So CURPOS stands for current positions. Yes, don't run with scissors. I got to add the don't run with scissors to the list. The don't run with scissors it's solid. We should not be running with scissors. Okay, real quick on the BOGO sale, just so I don't have to go through it a lot. You can use code TDG, and rather than 40% off, which you'll see on the website, you can get 55% off. And it doesn't end today at midnight. It ends today in 50 minutes, I think. Now, maybe PropShop will start doing what all these other firms did, which is extend their flash sale and say, oh, by popular demand. But I've been told it's going to end in 50 minutes. So if you want to grab one of these accounts, you need to go over to www.tradersdevgroup.com/PropShop, or you can just go to the PropShop Trader website. You're going to use code TDG, and that's going to get you 55% off instead of 40. So if you do all the math, a $50,000 account will be about $80, somewhere in there, maybe a little more, maybe a little less with tax, depending on where you are in the world. And that's good for two, not one, but two $50,000 accounts with the activation fee included. So after you pass, and you should not pass them in 1 day or 3 days or 5 days, take your time. Do the wire-to-wire challenge with me if you'd like. Working on these same accounts here, the first 5 that I ever bought. These are 100,000s. Now I'm going significantly slower than you could go even trading these things properly. But here's the 10 accounts that I have, and you can see up a teeny bit of money today. Not much. The market didn't offer much this morning. Not offering much right now either. So since I have this in a number of accounts, what I'm going to do is, there's no rhyme or reason to how to do this, right? It's just sometimes just little made up. So I'll take it there.
Order
maybe.
pending.
We'll see if we get it.
Order filled. Position closed. Order filled. Position closed.
Okay, so we will see if I get a hit. It's like one more tick. All right, I'm just going to drag it into price. So we're
Order
done
modified.
Okay.
Order filled.
So then I just have it in this one account right here. And we'll let that run up to.
Order modified.
So when I do this kind of things, I get questions which are valid. Like, how do you make that determination? And why don't you keep the copier on all the time? All of it's fine. I don't have answers for all that. Sometimes it's a feel thing. Like I made 10 or 15 bucks right away in 6 accounts. I'm just going to take it off in 3. I'll let the others run. A little bit of everything. For simplicity's sake, you should probably eventually just be copying the exact same trades across all the accounts that are in the account group, and that's the easiest thing for most people to do. Okay. The most important thing is that you're following a repeatable mechanical strategy that will allow you to manage risk and have the entire trade planned in advance. So now let's get into a little bit of risk management for this trade. Now I'm not going to have a stop on here if I have an ad down there at 44,964. If you wanted to do all of the math associated with the average cost of this trade once you get filled, you could do all that ahead of time, but I'm just too stupid for that. I went to California schools. So what I do instead, can we get a few other people, just picture and sound in the chat? Just let me know, put a 1 in there just to make sure everything's going okay. I know it's a Friday afternoon. There's probably not a lot of people watching the stream, and the other thing is my head's getting cut off, and my editor guy's not going to like it. All right, there we go. It's a little better. Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. So what you want to be doing here, folks, is if you're going to campaign, I call it campaigning in the zone here. If we get filled at 44,964, let's do it as if we're not long here, right? We're just going to get filled at 44,964. Now, this is a strategy, right? Stay in your lane, volatility based. Over here, we have the range trader, which also uses a volume profile, but gives us some other levels. So on the Dow Jones over here, we have a bid zone that would be very, very discretionary, right? So how I would do this bid zone today is I would just connect the upward sloping T line with the prior session low, and that would give me a bid zone right here. Can you see how far that is from price? That's a long way from price. The other levels that we would have on the range trader would be the prior session's POC. So prior session's POC, I was saying this morning when this was doing scare the children for a lot of longs in the Dow, hey, you needed to look left here and understand that this was certainly in the cards and a complete reversal was in the cards. Give me a 1 in the chat if you've seen this movie too many times. Like literally a total reversal. A lot of the time it's on a V bottom, but we get V tops too, right? Where they just round trip the whole thing the next day. And you know, you're buying in here and then you're buying here and then you're buying here and you're like, fuck this is crazy. How come I constantly get caught in the wrong area? Well, on the range trader, essentially if you're buying in here, you're buying in the middle of the muck. But you're also buying in the bid zone, which is okay, right? So these things offer you what I could call confluence. They're not contradictory. They're just another way of looking at it. So for instance, at 44,964, if I get filled here, that's 44,964, like right in here. I still have another 50 points down to where my range trader ad would be, which is 44,906. So I'm not a huge fan of this whole plan your trade your plan, all this planning, all this higher time frame, top-down analysis, looking at 4 different time frames to set your day. Do I have a bullish or bearish bias? You don't need to do that. Prior session high, prior session low, 1 measure of range, or excuse me, of trend. And then the whole thing just plays out in front of you. The other thing is that this is the Dow Jones, so 50 cents a tick should be manageable for most people, even with smaller risk budgets. Okay, so with that as a backdrop, right? One of the easiest ways to create a trade base dynamic risk reward model and stop target is to measure the distance from here to here. Okay, it doesn't matter that I'm involved already, right? So we're going to go from here to here. No, we're not. Or here to there. It doesn't matter. It's 96. Is there a way to make this bigger? I'm sure there is. Where's the frickin' font? The font size, text font. This thing is way too small. There we go. So 96 points, okay? So we're not long here, let's say. We're just going to wait for a -2 touch. We get a -2 touch at 44,964. You want to manage this trade independently of the fact that we have another level 50 points lower, right? There's no right or wrong way to do this. This is just situational fluency, becoming situationally fluent. The wrong way is to use the previous swing or swing high of the last 5-minute candle or some other nonsense where you're just looking left. But Rod, you're looking left when you're over here. Yes, it's from yesterday's profile, and it's the only level on the prior day's profile that I care about? What was the highest volume node from the prior day? Because there's muscle memory around that. So let's say who's paying attention. If I wanted a 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio from an entry at 44,964, I want a 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio. How many points below my entry at 964 is my stop? I want a 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio. Let's just wait. Do 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 do. We'll wait for someone to answer. I got my 5 accounts in June at 11K profit. Let's go over here to the let me move this over so you guys can see what I'm reading. Okay, so I got my 5 accounts in June at 11K profit. No, 192 is way off. Try again. And we have a 96-point target, and we want a 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio on a hypothetical entry at 44,964. Yes, that's the right answer, about 45 points. So put your stop at 45 points below, and then that's how you manage it. It is unlikely, unless we get some sort of tape bomb or anything like that, that we're going to get the Dow to move 45 points outside the bands today for the remainder of this session, but it could happen. No, 96 points would be a 1-to-1 reward to risk. I was looking for a 2-to-1 reward to risk. And remember, I don't care that these lag price, all this nonsense that you hear about, naked trading and indicators are nonsense and technical analysis. I'm not doing any analysis. There's no analysis that I'm doing here. I'm putting the order on this line because in the S&P, not necessarily the Dow, but they're how they correlated, about 80% of price action is going to take place within 2 standard deviations, especially if you're over 50% ATR, which we were already this morning because we had the big move to the upside on the Dow Jones. Factoring all those things into consideration, there's a good chance that now anything could happen. Trump and Putin are meeting right now. The world could end. Who knows? So there's certainly movements that could get us outside these bands. But if we're just going to go with probabilities, there's a high probability we stay within that band. And that this should be a manageable trade, even if it goes against us a little bit. And if we want a dynamic stop, it's based on a dynamic entry, which is a line, a dynamic target, which is another line right here. If you're a multi-contract trader, you can play around with things that I do too, which is sometimes I'll just take the first little bounce, and then re-enter. What I mean when I say 50% ATR is I'm referring to an ATR measurement, which is it's a great question. There's only 2 things that matter in all of trading. It's volatility and volume. And as I've said before, I don't mean the silly little volume bars that you see at the bottom of a typical stock chart, which I laugh every time because every single platform, when you log in and you put the SPY or the Qs or Apple, it's going to give you a daily or some sort of time-based chart, and then it's going to put volume at the bottom. And there's still a lot of well-intentioned or misinformed educators out there that'll go, well, see, when the volume did this, then it went down. There was a lot of volume on the down day. And then there was a lot of volume on the up day. Wow, that's super insightful. That's really useful. I mean a volume profile or a volatility measurement that you can use to make most of your decisions. So when I'm saying percentage of ATR, what we do in our group, which you can find out about right down below. Lots of ways you can find out about our group. You can start with the ebook, the free ebook, Prop Done Right. That'll get you on our list. We'll tell you a little bit more about everything we offer, which is a whole lot of stuff for free. The only time you reach your little alligator elbows into your wallet to, God forbid, invest in yourself. Now I understand there's a lot of doubters out there that anybody who knows what they're doing would not be broadcasting on YouTube and certainly would not be trading micros in demo prop accounts. So think what you will about the state of tradertainment. Maybe you just got lucky to be hearing my voice today, and your whole life is going to change. When you learn that the way to trade markets is to see what's happening in terms of the volatility regime. So the question I'm answering is, what do I mean with about 50% ATR? I mean the percentage of range for the session or at the very time I'm trading relative to the 7-day ATR. So for instance, right now, I'm on the wrong chart. Here we go. So right now, the ATR for the S&P is, I'm on the wrong screen. I'm on the right screen now, right? You're seeing the market analyzer? Should be. 62.92. Let's just call it 63 points. So 50% ATR would be 31-point range. A 31-point range. What's the range today on the S&P? Does anyone know? It's 47.5. It wasn't earlier, but now we put in 47.5. So we've done about 70% ATR. Does that make sense? 70% ATR. So, good question. Now let's go back down to the questions. The questions. There you go. Adam's putting in his Kerpos. He's long YM, long 1 MES. He puts the orders on the line. That's it. From 67.41, 64.71. I love it. You just train the strategy. That's it. And if you have a 2-lot here, you can take one right away, run a sell stop, hold for the extended target. The only way you ever get to the extended targets, though, is you have to have some inventory on, right? Well, here's the thing. Adam's saying he's been in my group and he watched me spin up accounts. I'm not spinning up anymore. These are all that I'm ever going to have. After 3 years of just passing and canceling, passing and canceling, why would you ever do that? So silly. Look, my situation is completely different than a lot of other people. I finally was like, okay, whatever. If these guys still get all the attention because people are really concerned about the proof point of the amount of payouts, I will be showing you $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 in payouts starting very soon. Right now I'm doing like 10 or 15,000. And it's from these accounts plus another series of accounts. I have a whole other series of accounts. I can teach you, if you put in the time, how to do this at just one firm. You could use Bullinox, you could use Take Profit, you can use PropShop, you can use Apex, it doesn't matter. And you don't need 20 accounts. 5 accounts, you can supplement and complement your income, change your life. So I appreciate the comment, but I'm not spinning anything up anymore. The only thing I'm spinning up is we're going to spin up the we're going to spin up these accounts here, right? Earlier, someone had mentioned that they got hit by the consistency rule. They had a day where they made 4K. Don't do that. You didn't make 4K trading micros. You didn't make 4K trading micros. Do I like consistency rules? No. Do I like silly hedging things? No. Is any of this like real trading? No. But the thing that's the least like real trading, and I'm referring to prop evaluations or sim to live accounts that you can get paid on, the thing that is the least like real trading is the amount of leverage and size that they allow you to put on. And if you choose to put that on, you are immediately, so that's the deal. JCap, Rips, Whelan, all these other guys. Look, and I don't know any of them. They're making tons and tons and tons and tons of money in affiliate marketing. And don't get me wrong, I ain't a popper when it comes to that either. I've done very well, and I appreciate you guys' support. You use code TDG, you get 55% off at PropShop. And maybe they've occasionally mentioned that, they're doing it this way or that way, and maybe I don't know if I've ever heard them say that, what I'm showing you is not how you should do it. But I don't understand that kind of social proof. What I would gravitate towards, and the reason that I'm showing you what I'm showing you, is you guys are all capable of doing this. Most of you don't have the bankroll to just buy hundreds of evaluations and blow 80% of them up, but then still go, well, look, I'm profitable overall. I'm pulling all this money out. Or even worse, the claims that a lot of you guys believe, which is, here's my statement with $250,000 in it, or $50,000 in it, or $80,000 in it, or $30,000 in it, and look, I made 10 or 20,000. If someone doesn't show you their real statements, then they're not a real trader. Well, first of all those guys, all their money that they have in there came from your money, from affiliate marketing. So that's how they have that money in there. So keep using their codes, keep promoting the nonsense that they're talking about, and they'll keep showing you big accounts that have had some success. I mentioned this on the stream yesterday. I don't see any reason to show account sizes that are larger or not related to anything that, how can you show an account with 100 grand in it and you made $17,000 in 40 minutes trading 6 NASDAQ contracts, and that you're supposedly someone that can help or instruct or inform other people how to navigate this treacherous world that is learning how to do this properly, and then in the same heartbeat go, use my code to buy 10 Apex accounts? It doesn't make any sense. I would like some people to start explaining this to me. There seems to be this really well-intentioned Asian guy that's now streaming. He's got 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people watching him at a time. Talk about a carnival show. That is a total carnival show. So I got on this tangent. I appreciate you putting the comment in there, but if you're hitting the consistency rules or hitting the drawdown or struggling really at all, or even pissed off that the most amount of payouts you can get from a sim demo account that costs you $50 or $100 is $1,500 or $3,000. You know the content I hate the most that I want to, it's difficult for me to not comment on what's happening out there in the industry, because for 10 years when I was creating educational content before sort of the big boom of social media, I could not get any of these stock jockeys and idiots to just come over and talk a little bit about futures, because instead they were showing ways around the pattern day trader requirement. I'll give you a way around the pattern day trader requirement. Don't trade equities. They're not meant to be day traded. They never have been. Don't come at me about the biggest traders and whatever trade equities. Yeah, they do if they're truly with real actual prop firms that are providing the capital necessary. I'll tell you what a lot of real big traders actually don't do. They don't even trade options, because if they have enough capital, why deal with all of the Greeks and all the bullshit around that? Just get directional. Put on as much size you want in any direction. Maybe use an option as a hedge. All right, so I have some positions on over here that are MES longs.
Order filled.
That I'm just going to take off because I'm going to focus on the prop shop over here. The prop shop. Oh, I should play that song. I'm going to download and play that song for us today. I think I was doing a little bit of teaching and then I got sidetracked. I think I was doing some teaching. I'm not sure what I was talking about. Okay, so we have a question over here. Let me go back to this. By the way, I saw on yesterday's stream, or maybe it was the day before, that I was talking about something I was showing, and I was on the completely wrong screen. So if you ever if you ever are pretty sure that I am referring to something that you should be seeing and you're not seeing it, if you can just put a little note in there, something like probably wrong screen or maybe wrong screen or something, that would help me. Right now I'm on the right screen because I wanted to answer McNulty's question, which is I have a question about selecting the right account size. Do you think it makes more sense to go for the bigger account and still trade one micro? For a long, long time, all I traded was the 50s and even the 25s just because we could pass them pretty quick. Speaking of passing quick, that's the other piece of content that I despise. The 3 or 4 types of content that I despise that's been being rewarded by the YouTube algorithm because people click on it and it's their version of P&L porn is how I made or $20,000 in 5 minutes or this. It's always numbers, right? Profit and loss. But I really dislike all of this. The best firms for a fast payout. This for the fastest. The best payout fastest. The fastest way you can do this. The fastest way you can do that. This is a process. It's building a skill. The best way to build a skill is by putting in the time and daily deliberate practice. To answer the question about account sizes, it really depends. I would say if you're first starting out, it doesn't make sense to go much bigger than 50,000. The reason I went with 250,000 is a very unique reason to me. I'm the greatest there ever was. So I needed more time before I passed and canceled $50,000 accounts, which I've been doing for 3 years. So I bought these big ones, and I bought them from Apex for basically 3 reasons. One, they had the same activation fee. They ran a special for a long time. I think they still do it. You pay the same activation fee for a little bit larger account. 2, the payout buffer is half of what the evaluation is. If I had to do 15,000 in micros twice, I would have never bought them because 15,000 in micros once took me 3 or 4 months. But I'm going, you can see the balance of these accounts. I've shown them a lot, 2,000, 2,000, 50, whatever. It's going to take me another month or two to get these up to 6,000, 7,000. I think the buffer is somewhere around 6 or 7,000, not 15,000. So these are the appropriate instruments for me, and then everything else is 150. For most people, I would say, go with the 50,000. I mentioned this on the PropShop stuff. You don't need to buy additional drawdown. That just takes your daily risk budget from $300 down, up to $300 from $250 if you're using 10% of the starting account value of $2,500. You don't need to do that. But as I say in my Prop Done Right ebook, I used to say just buy one. Now I'm saying it would benefit most people to buy 2 or 3 or whatever you can afford, not more than 5 to start, $50,000 accounts, again, whatever you can afford, and then learn a little bit about the copying business too, and how to copy on various platforms initially or eventually. Because the way to do this, as I talk about in my book, and many of you guys are catching on to it, is to make a little bit of money or lose a little bit of money across a number of accounts instead of losing a lot or over leveraging yourself in one account. So again, I'm not harping on, please leave these comments, they're helpful, but if you made $4,000 and you got hit by the 30% thing, you're just not structuring your business correctly yet. And now you learn that. Now you have to do this silly artificial nonsense of losing money or tracking your days to try to get back under the consistency. Just don't put yourself in those situations. As you'll see on my screen, if you tune in, from time to time here, I don't know how. I'm never going to get hit with any kind of consistency. How is this going to? I'm the most consistently small G guy that you'll ever see on YouTube. Okay, so very good question. So I noticed that you use Trade Tick Blaze. Yes, I have 6 or 7, more than that, platforms that I use. For the purposes of prop, okay, for all of my other trading, I use something called Trading Technologies, and because I make markets and options, and then I use interactive brokers. And I have Ninja attached to interactive brokers if I need to do an underlying trade. That's my professional other setup. For what we're doing in the prop world, it's 4 or 5 things that look like I'm promoting TickBlaze. You can use other Rithmic platforms if you like, but you can be logged in, of course, to Rithmic on multiple platforms simultaneously, or you can be logged into multiple instances of TickBlaze. So in these streams, I try not to get too much into how to stitch all these various things together, because I'm putting that kind of stuff in my blog. How to multi-prop on which platforms, what kind of copiers are out there. And next week, I'm going to be doing a whole thing on a new trade copier called Thor, and I'll be trading TickBlaze using Thor as the copier, but I'm going to be copying from TickBlaze to other TickBlaze accounts, from PropShop to other PropShop accounts using TickBlaze, but I'm also going to be copying to CQG, DXFeed, TradingView, all at the same time. So they're basically like a lower cost version of TradeSyncer. All right. Sorry for the first time you're here. I'm trading micros. Yes, I only trade micros, and the reason I only trade micros is because they're all that you can trade to be properly leveraged and manage risk properly in these programs. Let me say it again. You're welcome to over leverage yourself. You're welcome to put on a mini occasionally in a certain spot and think that you're whatever. But you're not welcome to say that prop is all bullshit and it's a scam, and they never take anybody live and they have no interest in that. That might still be the case slightly, because look, if I had a cash cow and everyone was running into my casino and I found very, very few sharp players, I just keep running the carnival game. So maybe it stays that way. But what all these programs do is give you way more leverage, and if you choose to use it, it's not if, it's just when. You will blow up. So to answer your question, yes, it's only micros. A $150,000 account takes me about a month and a half to pass, 9,000, maybe a little more. The 250s, 15,000 took me 4 months. And as I point out from time to time, the state that these are in now, I will never lose them, ever. Why? Because I had the discipline to take 4 months to make $15,000 of phony money. And now whatever amount of time it takes me to get them back up to 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 in buffer, and then I can just hit a button and say, I would like $2,500 of carnival money, please. I would like $2,500 of carnival money, please. I would like $2,750 of carnival money, please. And it's not because Apex knows me, and it's not because I'm an influencer. It's because I have a reputation now with the firm where I'm producing risk-adjusted returns, and they barely have to look at, I push the button, I ask for a request, it's approved usually the same day, and the money is in my account within 2 to 3 days. That's the case at Apex, that's the case at Take Profit, that's the case at Tradovate, that's the case at all these places, even the ones that claim that they've always been that way. Trust me, they're not that way. If you trade minis and you violate the rules, or you sort of skirt and you trade too big and you do all these things, you're going to be on their radar, and it's not as easy to get payouts. So there's the answer there. Yeah, I have to move on from ETP. I know that some people are having, so ETP is the recommended copier for TickBlaze. But it has been problematic for me, and I hate to have RTrader open, or I don't want to be dealing with any of that shit. So I've made some of the changes that some of you guys have said to set everything to market orders, and I just don't trust in it. I always feel like I have to go back into RTrader to see if I have a resting order. The thing that I love about the native ones to on NinjaTrader, whether that's affordable indicators or Flowbots from Replicanto, is I can just see everything in real time on the platform, right? just makes it easier. But again, I'll be doing some stuff with Thor. Vai Brazil! So the goal is to copy and target 2 to 3 payouts from one prop firm with 20 accounts. I mean, if you get to that, look, what I'm showing on the screen is not necessary. And Mark, I don't know if Mark's here. He's gonna come up every day until I got a little pissed at our boy. I didn't get pissed at him, but our boy Dan today, who told me he's taking these payouts from Blue Sky and he's not posting them in the payout channel. $8,200. That's from 6 $50,000 accounts with a $600, $600 daily risk budget per account. Or doing it a different way. Here's $500, just $500. So yeah, if you can do this in one account, then you can do it in 5 accounts eventually, and then it's $2,500. Most places in this country, that'll almost pay your mortgage. From a pursuit that everybody will probably say is not possible and want to figure out all the ways to pick holes. This opportunity never existed before, ever. The story I've been telling on these streams is you do not know how good you got it. Anybody that is complaining about the state of these prop firms, you are clueless as to the opportunity you're missing. Completely clueless. Because back in my day, I had to put my own money in one account and trade a mini. In 94, I was trading with my entire net worth on the big contract because they didn't even have minis. Do you know what it was per point? Does anyone know what it was per point in the big contract in the S&P? Let's see if anyone knows their history. You know that minis are, I'll give you a hint. You know that minis are $50, right? And you know that micros are $5. You want to take a guess at, you want to take a guess? These are some good guesses. A couple of you got it right. You can Google it. This is the funny thing is, so Abrol is a master, right? He is a master. The problem is as soon as you've taken out a certain amount of payouts, then they give you this title, which is Guru, which is a very insulting title. Yes, 25 a tick. All right. Four more minutes till we have our market on close orders. Come back up to over here. And I am just in one trade left here on this account. Let's see if we can get to target.
Order modified.
Yeah, there was times when a big day for the S&P would be 10, 15 points, maybe 20. Yeah. So when I first traded, it was 500. Then they cut it in half, and then in '97, I remember the mini came out in like fall of '97, somewhere in there, because it was right around the Asian currency crisis. Because the Asian currency crisis was like wasn't like October, right around there. There was this huge Asian currency crisis. We've had plenty of South American crises, but they don't seem to care about currencies in South America. Has anyone ever been to Argentina? Oh man, it's fun. Like, you go change your currency behind a McDonald's. Do a little the black market there is hilarious. All right, so I think there's 10 more minutes left for you to get the BOGO sale. So let me just go through it real quick. You still can't do it in certain European countries, but you can do it. This is the PropShop BOGO sale where you buy one, you get one free. Please don't ask me how to get your code because they're going to the coupon because they're going to send you an email that tells you how to do that. But I'll tell you. You log into PropShop Trader, you go to dashboard, then to my coupons, you grab the coupon, you go back to shop, you put in the same account that you bought before, you put in the thing, and it shows 0, and then it even tells you it's going to renew at 0. So you're going to get a free account for every account you buy that's completely free, including the activation fee. As I said on my video the other day, how can they possibly manage to do this? It's because you guys suck at trading. So stop sucking at trading. It's not because they're insolvent. It's not because they need to raise funds because they change the rules on payouts and things. The payout rules had to do with, and I've said this publicly, I think they thought, and they shouldn't have because I advised them about this, that they were going to find a slightly more enlightened, better trader cohort out there. Guess what? They didn't. They found a whole lot of pedal to the metal, max size, slide in with a couple accounts that don't violate any rules and get payouts from those. Extract as much money as fast as you can. Fuck these firms, who cares? They found a fair amount of that. So since they have a lot of that, and then they have a lot of other traders that just can't figure out how to even do that, and instead are just blowing up and not having success and not doing anything, they can offer these types of accounts. They're great accounts. Take advantage of them. Do it right. Do the wire-to-wire challenge with me. Come into my trade room. So now you have 10 minutes left. 10 minutes left to get an account for 55% off and then an entire free one. You cannot trade it on NinjaTrader. You cannot trade it on TradingView. You cannot trade it on ProjectX. You cannot trade it on any web-based platform or Tradovate. You can use Rithmic-based platforms, RTrader, MotiveWave, Sierra, Quant Tower, or TickBlaze. And I'm going to offer the same offer again. If you buy this and use my code, I have no way of telling if you use my code, and you send an email to info@tradersdevgroup.com, I will give you the workspace that you're seeing here on TickBlaze. One-click install. I'll give you this workspace. Yesterday I did an offer where I offered the extreme turn as well. I'm not doing that anymore. That thing is too valuable, and I already could tell I have a Trojan in there that is potentially already showing me that people are redistributing the code. It's like I can't. I send it out and I say, here you go. Enjoy your bonus. Please don't redistribute. And they send it to somewhere else, and I see that the code, the indicator has been installed on a different IP. Now, could it potentially be that it was the guy's laptop too? But no. So no more extreme turn. You get the extreme turn if you become a member of my group, but you can't have the entire workspace for TickBlaze.
Connection lost.
No, I didn't give up on the wire-to-wire challenge. No. Wire-to-wire challenge is in full effect. Right here in front of you. Account 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got rid of the other ones so that I could get 16 and 17 just to test the BOGO thing. That's all. You can't have more than 10 accounts. So I wouldn't have been able to buy anymore. Yeah, they ruined my thing where when you buy a Gladiator, that becomes it counts it in a different order. So when I activate 0001, it's going to be Gladiator 16 or something, or Gladiator 11. I think it's going to be Gladiator 11. It'll be right after this one. So I blew up 6 and I blew up 8 to make rooms for 16 and 17. TickBlaze not available on the Mac. The way you can run, obviously, Windows software on PCs is just use an emulator or a virtual machine of some kind. All right, any other... Yeah, John remembers that. Yeah, that was that in October or September? It was October or September of 97, somewhere in there. I think it was around October. Bad things tend to happen in October. All right, let's move this off. Just going to hit the close button on these.
Order canceled. Order filled.
They're not moving. They're not doing
Position
anything.
closed.
So who cares? We're done. I just got to come in here and do my rant. Thank
Order
you.
filled. Position closed.
Create some sound bites for my boys.
Order canceled.
I thought I was doing well. I got like 3,000 or 4,000 followers on TikTok now. And then I go and now the algorithm is serving me a ton of other content exactly like the content that I'm creating. So I get to see all the quote unquote competition. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy's got 70,000 and he's trading Tradovate, live streaming Tradovate on TikTok with 10 accounts up there with, the balance is up 3,000 or 4,000. And then if it's ever down, he either probably doesn't stream or just closes the stream. And then I'm like, go to the next guy. Oh, same thing. Go to the next guy. Oh, same thing. They're all getting their money. What you guys doing this weekend? What are the weekend plans? If the Dodgers get swept by the Padres, members, I'm just not showing up on Monday. I think I'll just be too depressed. I don't think I'll be able to make it. But as long as the Brewers keep winning, everything's fine. If it wasn't for the Brewers, I'd be broke. Because I bet 5 units on the Dodgers every game and 5 units on the Brewers. Sometimes 6 units on the Brewers. They have more followers because they're nice. They don't yell at us. Who needs nice? Go Padres. We beat you last year when it mattered. When everyone thought this was the year that we were going to get left crying again. All right. Questions about whether I have a course or I'll just bring you back up here. I don't sell a course. I don't sell any courses or indicators or software or signals or anything like that. Everything is just included. The only thing I sell is just a live daily trade room because that's the only way to do this. You have to put in daily deliberate practice. You're not going to learn this any other way. But if you just scroll around my website, I have an ebook. That's a great place to start. You can put your information in here. There's a 30-video course called the Futures Fanatic Foundation course. Here's the book. So this is here's the trial. And as I often mention, my course is longer and more detailed than any course you could ever go through because if you ended up becoming a member, you can come in here and go to the PTR recordings area and you can watch more training or course than you'd ever want to know. Or as Tron's mentioning, you can hear me yell at you and tell you how you're doing it wrong every day and be bewildered by the fact that there's people putting in a lot of time and dedication and not making progress. I don't know what they're doing that's different than what I'm showing, but clearly they're doing something. Or you have people like Adam and others that just listen and put the order on the line and manage risk. Going to see Bonham tonight. Oh, that's cool. Victor, though, did you trade minis? I know you're allowed to. I'm just asking, did you trade minis? $2,000, $3,000 in an account in one day is insane, because you could never do that with your own $2,500 or $3,000. All right. I think that will be it for today. We've got 2 more minutes. Just watch the close. Vinny E-Mini is back on YouTube. I don't know who that is. All right. If you did that, if you had a $4,000 day trading micros 6 at a time, that's a great day. So I stand corrected. That's proper leverage, and that should be risk-adjusted returns. So, all right, you keep coming at me. I'll agree with you folks eventually. If you did it that way, that it is unfortunate that you got caught up in that. So just push through. You'll make it there. I do know that they have already put about $500,000 of real capital behind in real markets behind, I think, about 15 or 20 traders so far. That is a lot more than most every other firm out there has ever done in their history in terms of putting people in live markets. So far they are walking the walk and talking the talk, walking the talk that they talk. My favorite was I got this long email from someone who said, here's all the reasons that you're a schmuck and you're misleading people and everything, because the one thing that PropShop is doing that's so deceptive and everything is that when you're asked to be taken live, your sizing gets cut massively down to, I think it's like 1 mini for every 6,000 in capital that you have in your account. And then they just want to complain. This is just insane. I would have never signed up if I knew that I had to have 6,000 to trade 1 mini. Why did I even waste my time? Put $6,000 in Interactive Brokers. Oh, that's right, you can't. It's a $25,000 minimum. But let's say you put $6,000 in Interactive Brokers. You can't trade a mini there either. Not even one. Let's say you put in 12,000. Still can't even trade one. Let's say you put in 18,000. Now you could trade one. So the complainers come even when the firms are setting up things that are more realistic and, God forbid, trying to protect their money and your livelihood in the business. If I set the program up, no one would ever buy my program, ever. Because you know what I would allow for every 6,000? I would allow what I allow for the 10 other people that I back over on Interactive Brokers, where we have to use their margins. So if you have a $6,000 account, you can trade 3 micros. I would not have a popular prop program. So a couple of things. Let me come over here, and then we'll just end with this, because these are valid issues that Victor's raising about PropShop. Now, here's the positive thing, right? Is that you're being alerted and flagged. And to my knowledge, they are the only firm out there, whether you like the rule or not, or it's annoying, or it's something that you can clear the flag, or whatever the case may be, right? I get flagged for hedging almost every other day. And I sent something into the compliance manager. I happen to know him. And I just said, look, when the time comes where I ever want to take a payout for this thing, or I'm getting close, let's just discuss the nature of this behavior and figure out if there's a way to once and for all remove these flags if they happen to be, which they always are. Could you imagine a day like today where someone might be short the Dow Jones, which was up 250, 300 points to start the session on one move from United Healthcare? The reason for the move doesn't matter, but the Dow Jones was, and Dow Jones might go red today, right? If it goes below 45,000, it's going to go red. So mean reversion, a true mean reversion strategy, not at the exact same time, would have you short the Dow Jones potentially and buying the S&P in the bid zone today, or maybe even buying the NASDAQ when it ripped down to the 800s, right? So back to what Victor's mentioning, he's getting alerted or flagged. That in and of itself is a good thing. Can anyone tell me if there's any other firm out there that is at least sending out those emails or has a near real-time end-of-day system that's alerting you to behaviors in the account that might cause an issue from a payout perspective? I don't know of any. I think that should eventually become the standard. Hey, let me remind you of this annoying rule that shouldn't exist that you violated today. Apex puts people live. It just costs them a lot more money, and they know the data and they know the stats. Because when you go live, it's real live money, and it's their money. You can say you earned it, but you earned it in funny money, and they put real money in there. And then those traders, the most treacherous thing these firms have to do is try to figure out if they can really identify true edge in trading talent and sustained alpha in the market. And guess what? It's really, really hard. It's especially hard when their evaluations or their pre-real live accounts don't have any bearing in the real world. So when the leverage is 5 or 10 times or 15 times what it should be in the evaluation, and then it's cut down to 3 times in the real world, it's going to be tricky, and Sean and his team are working on this to make being live attractive. They're going to have to put in a significant amount of capital and then really watch these traders carefully, because guess what? These desks just churn. They churn just as fast as because you guys are not doing this right. You're not trying to build a career. No one is. Almost no one. I mean, I know the stats. Just about no one is trying to build a career. I'm trying to join your Discord, but somehow it's rejecting, give it failed to upload. I mean, I can't, I'll put the free Discord link right in here right now. But I can't troubleshoot Discord. We have thousands of people in our Discord now, so I know it's working. I have infinite edge. You know what my edge is? The discipline that I've developed to never lose a lot of money. That's it. That's it. The discipline I've developed to never lose a lot of money. That's all you need to do. All right. Been trying to trade for 9 years. You'd like to learn a better way? All right, grab the ebook down there. Grab the ebook. Start with that ebook. Get on my list. Find out more about what we're doing here. All right, that'll be it. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay green. Trade like you mean it. I don't know what I was talking about, so I can't answer the question which prop firm am I referring to. Mostly what I've been talking about today was PropShop, which I believe if you go over, if the code still works, then the deadline was bullshit, but maybe it'll still work. Use code TDG to get 55% off a PropShop account, and you get a free one as well. I don't know if it's still working. That's right. Don't lose a lot of money, risk less, suck less. And then you do have to combine it with something that puts probabilities in your favor. I'm not calling it massive edge. I'm simply just saying use math and probabilities. Price stays range bound more than it trends. I know that it seems like it trends really strong in the opposite direction of whichever position you're in. And I get that and I feel that. But I teach and train these things because it puts the probabilities in your favor, not that the trade wins. Okay? 80% win rate, 90% win rate. That stuff is bullshit. Complete bullshit. What's not bullshit is that if you are buying in the bid zone at the -2s on days when there's at least 70 or 80% of range, you have a trade that you can probably manage risk around. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, you don't get too hurt. So you can switch from death by 1,000 paper cuts to life and exuberance and prosperity by 1,000 paper cuts.
The market is closed.
Scratch more often. Scratch as often as you can. Then put yourself in a position to catch the moves that are necessary to kind of make your day. Rinse and repeat. Don't lose a lot. Agreed. The markets have been strong. They've really been strong since the 5 sigma down move that we had back in April. It doesn't mean that you can't dance between the raindrops, and ultimately it doesn't mean that you can't shift gears on occasion and just buy pullbacks to VWAP, buy pullbacks even to the +1s, make a little adjustments. Got a great opportunity to buy the dip in the NASDAQ this morning. All right, so TDG still works. So much for the scarcity thing. So go over there if you'd like. I think it honestly is one of the best deals that you can find, especially since it's 55% off and it takes a $50,000 account down to $40, $45, somewhere around there when you add in the free one. Okay? And the wire-to-wire challenge is still going on. So the wire-to-wire challenge is still here. So buy these things, come into my room, keep me honest about trading these and caring about these. Because look at this account right here, G10. As silly as this is, okay? The drawdown on this account is $2,500, right? The drawdown on this account. That's stupid. The account is the account balance. It should be 0. So the account balance of this account is $400. So when I make $44, I just had a 10% return on this account. Now I don't get to too much of these percentages when they're small numbers, but this is the way to start looking at these things. If I have a $100,000 account that's up 2,000, I get all that back in buying power, allowing me to essentially eat back into all of my profits. I don't know about you, but if you deposited $2,500 of real money, the thing that makes this different than the real world is you got to have a little bit more patience and stay at the process. What you should have is a $2,500 of your own money, or maybe $5,000, and then every month, you know what I do? I'm not doing it right now, full disclosure, I just don't have time. But for a while, I had $5,000, $7,500 at NinjaTrader. I still have $7,500 at Tastyworks. I have $7,500, little over that now, in the tracking account at Interactive Brokers, and I just pay myself $1,500, $2,500. I pay myself all of the profits for the month, every month, and then rinse and repeat. Because I don't need to compound a trading account. That's silly. It's not how the world works. Dollar cost average your ass into the stock market and don't worry about it. If you're day trading, grow the account to where you need to get paid and then pay yourself. So what your copier should eventually look like is it's connected to maybe NinjaTrader, maybe Interactive Brokers, maybe AMP, and then you're copying to the Carnival. And if you treat the Carnival the same way you're treating that 25 or 5,000 of your real money, you will never violate substantially any of the prop rules. Maybe hedging and some of these things that are specific, we'll have to figure out a way to navigate around that. All right. I could talk forever on this stuff. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay green, trade like you mean it. We will see you on Monday in the trade room. If not, we're back streaming here on YouTube at noon, 2 Central, 3 Eastern on Tuesday. Be good. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay green, trade like you mean it.